Chicane Media Podcast. I got my boy Craig here. I'm Jonathan, and today we're going to be kind of talking about the first race of the season. Happened this morning in Bahrain. First race is under the belt, baby. Let's go. So it's for me, because I'm a Red Bull fan, a little bit more exciting start to the season. Nothing new. However, I would say it was an eventful race. So what are
Yeah.
your thoughts on how things kind of kicked off?
No, we had a first
Did
glitch.
you freeze? That's my
You
bad.
freeze.
Oh,
Oh
I did.
yeah, yeah,
Oh,
you froze.
my
But what was the question?
what was what? Give me some of your thoughts on how things kind of kicked off. I know because you're a Mercedes fan, they didn't do pretty bad.
They didn't do pretty good.
Yeah. So I think it went well overall for everyone, but
Yeah,
there were definitely some mishaps. So
yeah. I'm not gonna lie. I did get in at like lap 5, and I heard there was a first lap incident because I had to
it
drive to
was.
work and do all of this stuff, and these dudes were like over like talking, trying to need help with the smallest things. Like, hey, I'm trying to move my presentation, so I'm like, I'm looking at my phone like.
Like, ah.
You don't need me here today, sir. You just need me to kick you off. Like
Yeah.
I'll be the perfect person and stay at work and talk to people,
Oh
hey, how
yeah.
you doing? But I'm like, it's race season now. I don't
Yeah.
care. If I'm not teching in the room, then I'm out.
Like,
Like I don't
I'm
care.
out, dog. Dude, that's gonna be a me on Sundays now. Like, as much as I want to help people, I'm gonna be like, dude, my schedule from this point forward for the rest of the year is gonna be chopped up.
Yeah, and I know we're supposed to be talking about the race, but like 24 races, so we're getting half a year starting today of F1 racing,
Indeed,
which is
indeed,
crazy. I
dude,
think
it's so wild.
I think this year will be the test on whether or not they continue to do that many races,
Hmm.
because there was a lot of races they committed to having on the calendar, but
Yep.
I'm like, I don't know how many of those are actually, you know,
I mean, take for instance Vegas, right?
right.
I think the kickoff of Vegas was fantastic, but I don't foresee it lasting too long. I
Yeah,
could be wrong because it's Vegas. They're going to keep it on the calendar for the next, in 5 year increments or whatever.
I
However
mean,
they do that,
I
but
think
it could
NASCAR.
backfire.
Yeah, I think NASCAR even went there as well, or like they're going there now. So it's like, if Vegas continues to be on the calendar in both F1 and NASCAR, they'll have to eventually build a track in Vegas. They're not going to keep shutting down a strip or whatever for a race, even though it'll be no, it won't be 2 times a year because they'll have to have just about 10 days, and that's a lot of
Yeah,
money in Vegas terms of losing. You know what I'm saying? So they'll eventually have
yes,
to build a
it
track.
is.
But as far as the race
But hey,
go,
it's Vegas.
what happened?
I said, hey, it's Vegas.
Yeah, it is.
It's like it
But
could go
yeah,
one of two ways.
yeah.
You
But
know?
I think with F1 though, to get back on track, my bad.
Oh, back on
Um,
track.
but with the race today, Max was going by like lap 5, I
Oh,
think.
dude.
I
As
wasn't
soon
even worried. I wasn't even worried about it because everybody was like the pace of the Red Bull during practice was scary.
it
So I
was
knew
just
during the race,
insane.
or Max Verstappen more
Yeah.
so than Red Bull.
It's
Um,
just, I didn't expect it, and that sounds contradictory being a Red Bull fan. However, there the few worries with the teams and whatnot, and the back the question in the back of my mind is like, all right, it could go either one or two ways, good or bad. So even if you've been dominating for the last couple of years,
mhm.
you know,
I think you probably was just waiting. I was it's glitching, but I was gonna say
say again.
I was like, it's glitching. But
Oh,
even with that, it's just like I'm thinking you wasn't expecting the gap to be as big as it was again.
no, and I looked at it just with how they have been as a team over the last couple of years, and at some point you have to pass off the torch of dominance to another team.
Hmm.
You know, Mercedes has been undoubtedly probably one of the top performing teams in the last decade. But
Right,
at some point, all things must come to an end. Somebody else has to take that. And I think, because Max is what, 26, 27? He
right.
has an opportunity to be the next Mercedes, for lack of a better description.
Yeah,
But then again, I look at Russell's performance and say he could be, I think he has a great opportunity to become the next Lewis Hamilton over the next 10 years because he's young, he's not super like one of those guys that like stands out a ton, with his performance. Yet his consistency is what I think is probably the biggest factor in him becoming, or at least filling the shoes of Hamilton.
Yeah, just keep that Mercedes.
Because I'm like, who else can take that, right? Who else can fill? When you already have someone with that consistent track record and performance record already in your team at a good age bracket to proceed.
And compete with Max.
So it's like everybody's like, oh, who's going to take Hamilton twice? I'm like, dude, Russell's already in line with that. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think he'll equate the stature of Lewis Hamilton, but I think he can be at Mercedes and kind of keep them competing, however long he races. If they give him a halfway decent car at least to compete in the championships, despite, past these regulations. I think, Russell will be definitely good. But to go back on the races, so we talked about Red Bull, and it's just nothing. Dude, for Ferrari, I could tell already. Carlos is not taking no second seat to Charles this year. I'm like, all right, I'm leaving.
I don't think I've ever seen so much competition like between teammates. Like, I mean, rewind the clock with Bottas and Hamilton a couple times in the last 5 years when he was on the team. But in one single race, I don't think I've ever seen more back and forth between teammates than a single race. Wow.
Yeah, like I said, I've been rewatching those older archive seasons with the early Mercedes dominance with Rosberg and Lewis, and even though they were competing, it was more so one person would probably have a gap or something like that. But it wasn't like this. You know what I'm saying? Maybe what is it? The Red Bull era with Sebastian Vettel and Mark Webber.
You could say that.
But other than that, I can't really think. I think some I forgot who it was. It was a team fighting in the 90s. I forgot who were the drivers, but one of them was dang, I forgot. They're for Williams. It was for Williams, but we'll skip past that. It was like a Williams team. I'm not going to say the names, but I think it was Williams in 1990. Their drivers were fighting for the championship. It's been a minute since we actually seen two teams, our teammates, actually compete. And I think Fred Vasseur is like, Carlos is leaving. So Charles, you either going to be like, because I feel like if Charles loses to Carlos in like battles and stuff this year, even if he wins races and Carlos doesn't, but he loses those inter team battles, then he's going to be second fiddle when Lewis comes in.
Exactly. And
that's exactly
I don't doubt that. It's you have,
like Charles has to win.
It's like
win these battles.
You have that pressure, right? And from a competitive standpoint, it's like, what can you do? So you have to put 110%. And I look at these drivers and how they perform. I have no doubt they're putting that in, but sometimes things don't go as expected. So it's like, time will tell. I kind of look at that between Ricardo and who is it? It's Ricardo and Tsunoda.
Yuki.
So, I mean, what happened today? It's just there's so much like, because I see Tsunoda as aggressive. I
think that's just more immaturity.
A little bit, and I would say that.
No, I put it like this because it's a situational thing. It wasn't like they were on the same tires. Like Daniel was on soft tires, Yuki was on hard. Both of their tires are used, but still, the whole theory is Daniel was on softer, younger tires. So why is Yuki complaining about giving up the spot, and then after it, like on the lap coming in, he get a little
spicy?
Like, come on, bro. Yeah, a little unnecessarily spicy.
And
come on, bro.
I see that, and I'm like, come on. It's a gentleman's game, right? Have your respects, especially for your same team. But then again, in this kind of sport, your teammate's your worst enemy. So.
But no, it's like Daniel said it in the post-race interview. He was like, we knew going in that I was going to be on the softs. He was going to have the advantage at the end. So I don't see, like, if it was talked about before, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But if it was like a safety car, and Daniel was able to get it for some soft tires, You
I
see what
do.
I'm saying? But like Daniel basically said, like we talked, like we knew I was going to be on
Yeah.
the softs at the end of the race. So if that opportunity was there, he should have known to
Yeah.
move out the way. So
Yeah.
that's really a Yuki problem today. That was
Yeah.
really bad on Yuki. And I like
mean,
Yuki.
I like him,
So
but I
he
also
got to
just
clean that
like
up.
his consistent just aggression. Like that can get
I mean, Liam Lawson is right there, so Yuki can't be acting like
Yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah. Oh,
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If he can't have, I'll say 2 more of these moments before
Dude,
summer break.
I swear.
I promise you. I'll see. I promise you. I'm saying it now, and to our zero people watching this, I'm still saying it. If Yuki has 2 more
Now,
tantrums before summer break, Liam Lawson is going to be the other driver for Red
Hardly
Bull
hope
for
that
next
happens.
year. Because that today was like a number one.
Okay.
Like, come
For
on,
real.
yo, it's the first
Yeah,
race of
cool.
the season. Like, you come
Yeah,
you
and
come
that's
like
what I'm
that.
saying. I'm like, dude,
So
like I said, you have your respects, but there are times to do that and times to not do that. And you know, I don't care if
Right.
it's the start, the middle, or the end of the race. It's just it's frustrating to see that, right? But then again, each driver specifically within themselves wants to win, however they see fit. So, you know, young or old.
Yeah.
However, there is the balance of just like I said, having your respects for every person on the grid, driver or not. And so
I think Daniel about to wax for
I
the next
hope
2
so,
weeks.
because
For the next couple of races, I just think Daniel's about to wax Yuki just because of what happened.
And
today.
after watching, you know, the last or latest season of Drive to Survive, honestly, I wish Lawson would have taken Yuki's place. That's cold to say, but I don't think he's more of a balanced person when it comes to professional behavior on and off the track as a person.
Yeah.
Now, putting him against everybody, including his own teammate Danny Rick, it's probably a death sentence because he's young. However, you know, you got to start somewhere. And
then that Red Bull lineup,
it's a great
I think
opportunity.
it's no, well, no, not that, but I'm saying like you got Max Verstappen, Sergio Perez, Daniel Ricciardo, and then Yuki Tsunoda. That's like you can't be acting like that, and you talking about, you know what I'm saying? You just can't be acting like that when those are the guys in your camp.
That's true.
So just take Yuki out and put Liam Lawson in that group. That's a nice group right there. You know what I'm saying? That seems like a fun group. I think Yuki is a fun person, but I think on the track, but stuff on the track about to get him called out off the track. So
I hope not, because I think that just, you know, feeds the reputation for, you know, Red Bull and whoever's associated, you know, VZ Cash App RB. So I hope not. That's all I'll say.
What was I saying? Oh yeah, Logan Sargent in 20th again.
Man, sometimes it's just like that just hurts. You know.
I know he had a bad like start, but still, it's like.
But dude, Hulkenberg dropped way down, like within the first 10 laps, which just was really, really tough. You know,
but to bounce, but to get still not end up in the bottom 4 though. I mean, it was close, but to not end up in the bottom 4.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been worse, but it also could have been better.
Yeah, because Alpine knows they suck, so everybody who finished below them had an excuse today. Everybody has an excuse. I don't want to say suck, but they know they built the bad car.
And I bet everybody's like, they're thankful that they're not Alpine.
Right. And I already told you in the messages, it's just like I think that's more of a corporate thing. Since they fired Otmar, they had to, because like I said, whenever you hire somebody new, the first half of the season is going to be last year's car. So, but I personally feel like since they're already dealing with their personal engine issues, I think the car they basically are just not going to touch. I guess they'll try to just figure out a new concept and then just bring upgrades or a new change sometime later this year. Because they don't really have an option at this point, especially with when they got rid of Otmar, which was kind of after the majority of upgrades are made coming back from summer break. But yeah, McLaren.
Yeah, no. I was literally just about to say that. Looking at the standings, it's like, 2 McLarens in the top 10. One right outside the top 5. I think it's great.
They posted a what was it a graphic today for the
I
first
didn't
2 years
see it.
of the regulations. They scored 0 points in the first race, and then today I think today alone was
Dang,
14.
that's not bad.
Hold on, Lando
Sheesh,
had
dog.
8, 9, 10,
Wow, okay.
12. Not
I can respect that. Heck
so
yeah.
yeah. I mean,
Dude, come on.
yeah, still a good start. Aston Martin finishes
Yeah.
out the
I mean,
top 10.
not bad. We could, with how
Yeah.
they've been over the last, couple of years, I think it's a solid start.
But
Especially for Alonso being that
but
old.
pace wise, they seemed. I don't know if I will have to see, but I feel like there's
Yeah.
still a gap between them. I still feel like they wanted to jump at least McLaren this year, or at least compete with them. I still feel like there's a substantial gap between the top 4 teams. I think I told you. I feel like, or no, we thought Aston Martin was going to beat her, but based off this first race, it's still Red Bull up here.
Ferrari.
It's looking like Ferrari, Mercedes, and McLaren, depending on whatever track, might be able to compete with Red Bull. And then it's like Aston Martin, RB, maybe Sauber and Williams in that middle field for I guess 6 through 8. Yeah, that middle. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of.
It didn't surprise me that Sauber ended in behind the top 10, but because I think that also.
I think they made a lot of upgrades.
Yeah,
they did a lot of good changes because I think last year they just did not do much with that.
They rarely touched it.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, all right.
Yeah, that was something like people knew. They was like, well, honestly, they had the old technical director from.
Who was it? Oh gosh,
Adrian Seidel, I think.
And I forget where he's from though, but that I remember that name.
Yeah, but they picked him up from McLaren.
Got it.
So basically, he came in. He was like, "All right, I'm just not going to touch the car this year," and then. Because this team is really so in limbo. I like the lime green, but it's just like their name is Kick Sauber Ferrari.
Yeah.
Like, get it together. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not really.
It's like Visa Cash App Red Bull, right? Visa Cash App Red Bull and
it's like,
Kick Sauber Ferrari. So it's like, come on,
like,
dog.
Get it together, my G's. I will say this. I think Haas did better than what most people, even themselves, projected.
I would agree. I think, they have potential to be that redemptive team, and because they've had that drive for the last 2 to 3 years, 2-3 seasons, and we haven't heard much from some of the lower tier teams like Williams and Alpine. I mean, we can make our assumptions, but I think to maintain more consistency, they've got 23 races, and where they're already at as a team, Haas has a great way to develop to get more in the top 10. So I think it will happen. Not making a bold prediction.
I think with Haas, RB, and Williams, they could get lucky if they're even somewhat prepared for like a safety car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they had to be prepared for those moments. Yeah. One of those moments where it's like, okay, this could be the day we end up on a podium or at least heavy in points. I think they are capable of getting there if they had the points. I think based off of pace, obviously their cars aren't as good, but I think if they're ready, if they get a position at the right place in the right time with the right tires, they could score major points. I feel like with those 3 teams, Haas, RB, and Williams, I feel like they could snatch up some good points if they're prepared for the right scenario.
Seeing how today's race turned out, either Mercedes or McLaren touching Ferrari at all?
Mercedes had a lot of issues apparently with the battery. I feel like we'll see next. I feel like so Mercedes, what is it? Mercedes had finished in the top 5 or top 4 of practice 2, but that's because they ran their car super low. I think they couldn't run it low because of the wear. You remember Charles and Lewis got disqualified because of the wear on that skid board. So I personally feel like they couldn't do that this week. So I think depending on certain tracks, well, I think that plus the issues they had, but I think certain tracks they'll be able to run it as low as possible. I feel like Saudi, as far as my head goes, because it's just playing the F1 game, it doesn't. It doesn't. It's a very. It's a new.
Yeah.
It's a new track, so it's very flat. It's not bumpy. Because the thing about Bahrain was it's a very rough track. It's a very rough track. So I feel like we'll have to see this week before I make any declarations on Mercedes. But because I think they're going to run it real low this week to try to at least, see how low they could get it. Because that board was hitting, but due to the track, it was because it was going to be worn out, which is what they didn't want. So I feel like next week we'll see.
I think Mercedes will not push their as much power as they possibly can, 110% for the first couple of races, but the second half of the season, rush it.
Once they start, we got to start when they start making those upgrades. That's what we got to start paying attention to. When we starting to see big upgrades, not just wing changes here, but I'm talking packages. That's when we'll have to watch, because I do think this car is still good, but personally for me, I feel like it's just you're 2 years
it's not all that they expected,
so
and all that they want it to be, but I think seeing
it's they can't complain.
I mean, you can't complain. Like you literally just said, Russell and Hamilton got P5 and P7, so it's not bad.
It's good, but it's just y'all better not I don't. Well, no, I'm not saying Lewis and George. I'm talking about
right.
Toto saying, "Oh, we need to." No, bro. Lewis been saying, I've been watching the interviews. I watched the post race.
You guys need to do that.
Lewis has been saying he hates his car. I'm talking tears on the verge of his face. Talking about I want a new car. He was tired of that car, especially in 2022. He was fed up with that car, and then y'all come back next year with the wrong concept.
That would be
so. It's just it's really just you just gotta wait and see what Mercedes do when they start upgrading. But I do think part of the reason why they weren't as fast as they were showing in practice was because they couldn't run the car as low as possible. And I think since Jeddah is basically 3-4 years old now, and it's not used too much, and it's a new track, flat surface for the most of the part, I don't think Mercedes is really gonna wear their wear that skid board down. So I think this week will be.
Is that the next? I haven't even seen wins. What's the next one? Okay, Saudi. Okay, got it. Cool.
Yeah. Are you going to buy F1 TV?
I'm thinking about it. I mean, I have a job now, so you can't. I can't really argue.
You buy it now, you won't have to go again.
I'll see after I get back from Europe, and I'll see how that goes.
You're not gonna watch. Well, you probably get it for free in Europe, actually. Because
I mean, I'm only out for 8 days, so.
But no, I'm talking if you can be there during race week.
We're going in March, and Monaco is in May, so it's way out. So I wish we were going to Europe during in preparation at least 2 or 3 weeks out, but it's 2 months out.
Yeah.
And so there's no way, and I'm kind of sad.
No, I'm talking about what is it? I'm talking about at least watching it on TV.
No.
Here in America,
see if I can tune in while I'm over there.
Yeah, for them it's football on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to be on cable television.
Oh yeah, dude. I don't.
It's not going to be in English, but wait. Where are you going?
So my day will be in Monaco. I'm going to walk the circuit, which will be pretty sick.
Yeah, you said that. Yeah.
But we're going all over the place. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, if you're going to Monaco, you'll definitely be able to turn it on TV. They're going to speak in French.
Oh yeah. Hey,
but
engross myself in the culture. Let's do it.
Right. Much like that. But yeah, you'll have it. Yeah, for them, it's definitely going to be on TV.
Yeah. For sure.
But if you want to talk about the Christian Horner, stuff,
okay, yeah. I
was never that invested in it. I just wanted to wait and see.
What's happened.
Yeah,
we're out of the fire from what it seems like. Nothing has come up super recently outside of a Google Drive that has seemed to have been fake.
Yeah,
I'm not making my, I don't say making my assumptions, and this is an assumption in and of itself, but it doesn't seem like it was, there was no concrete evidence whatsoever. What's happened, and as a person, you can I don't care what status you are. It's tough because I'm a Red Bull fan and also a Max fan, so I'm a team and a driver fan.
Right.
And to see like the leader of that do something so just dirty, for lack of a better term, is just like crushing to see that.
Yeah.
But then again, I, I don't know. It sucks for everybody, right?
Yeah.
But then again, like I said, it's fake now. So I and the timing couldn't have been worse, and so that's why, like, it was so frustrating and all sorts of just sucky to see that. If it were true, I would lose all respect. Like I said, I don't care who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That's unacceptable in any sort of situation.
Right.
But it's not real from what it seems.
Yeah.
So, which is relieving.
Yeah. And that's why I kind of. Yeah. That's why I never had a comment about it because I made my jokes, but it was just like.
Yeah. It's just, if you do it, it sucks. If you didn't do it, then like okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not super celebrating if it's fake. Obviously for what it seems like it is. I'm not going to go, yay, like this is awesome. Like he's not guilty. I'm going, okay. Like, oh, ooh.
Yeah, it seems like it's a lot of sources, which is why I never said anything. Because it was just like four different,
all these people make claims about nothing. I'm like, who can you trust, right? Except for maybe like the local paper and 2 F1 sources on Instagram.
Yeah, and it's like if something does come out, it'll just look bad on everyone involved. But I do get the concern from other like team principals who says like, it was internal. So how much of it is being swept under the rug? Is there a report about? You know what I'm saying? I do get that skepticism of internal investigations because that's how I am. Like if a company's like, oh yeah, we're doing our own searching for sexual harassment, are you really going to punish the people, or are you really just going to address it? And then after a statement is made, you're just going to make the whole company do a online sexual harassment training thing. Like,
it's a tough topic, right?
Yeah, it really is because it's just like you don't want to disrespect said person who's making claims, but if there's an event, it's just too. That's why I don't want to comment on it or like talk about it because it's just like what. Like there is information or there is some foundation there that's kind of floating. You know what I'm saying? So it's just
like I said, if there were concrete evidence,
it's gonna come out.
If there were concrete evidence, it's like at the start of this whole thing, I would have been like, oh, like good luck. Like I'm not gonna like follow you or respect you guys ever again.
Yeah.
As things went on, it's like, okay, nobody really stepped forward and said, they just made claims.
Yeah.
So it's like, because I didn't see text messages. I didn't see, nobody leaked anything, that was either real or fake or whatever. Nothing was leaked. And so it's like, how can you actually, bring this to a whole court proceeding with almost pretty much nothing to build it off of?
Right.
Except what other people say on social media. So, because I people believe every single thing that they read or see or whatever.
Yeah, and F1 fans are basically teenagers.
Yeah.
Or I won't say F1 fans. I'll say F1 online fans. Or like 14-year-old boys.
Yeah.
Like internet access, and it's
like I said, what's happened.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it.
I just like since it's clear, I don't want nothing coming out about Red Bull not doing what they were supposed to do during the investigation. You know what I'm saying? That's the part of
they didn't do much to either help or rid themselves of, potential implosion.
Yeah, that's why I'm like a little iffy about it because it was just like we doing an investigation because these claims against Christian Horner, all this drama and stuff goes through, and then right before the season starts, it's like, oh, nothing happened.
Rick.
Like you let that momentum build up only to you see what I'm saying?
Like I said, and that's what I'm so surprised about how quickly it took for them to not solve it or not,
to claim nothing happened.
To claim nothing happened. I'm like, why drag it over? If you know the answer, go ahead and tell people.
Exactly.
Like,
and that's why I'm like, that's why I don't feel it's not sitting right with me because it's just like.
That's a good point.
You know what I'm saying? It's just
Yep. So it's definitely a little fishy because I'm like I said, it could have probably been solved within a week.
Yeah.
But I'm no detective. So,
Right.
I don't know. It's a tricky topic.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's why I didn't want to talk about it, just because it's just like, yeah, you made the perfect timing to announce it. Hey, he's clear. Let's enjoy the season. Yeah.
Dude, what's so interesting? Like the day of today, I
Mhm.
barely saw Christian Porter on camera, and it's
Right.
probably because as soon as somebody puts a microphone in his face, everybody's going to start asking questions about what. So
And he had his wife there. How PC, or yeah, how what a good publicity stunt to be cleared of the allegations and then show
yeah,
up to the first race after hiding your face a
he's the
whole week
wackest
ago.
nice girl in this joint. Like,
Like
come on,
you hid your face a whole week ago from the cameras
dog.
during testing session. Now you're like, hey, I brought my wife with
Guess
me.
who's back?
Yeah, so I
It's fishy.
yeah, it is fishy. That's why
It's
I'm
fishy.
not.
We'll never know,
We're not
but
rocking with
at
them.
least from what it seems, But then again, people believe what they want to believe.
Hmm.
So, but anyway.
But yeah, it was.
It was an eventful race, at least for
Yeah, it
us.
was.
For
No,
us, me.
there was a good battles going around, and
Yeah.
usually Bahrain recently, since they turned it into a testing site and then a testing site, then a like first race. A lot of guys are familiar with the track very early on, so it's like
Mhm.
that first race. A lot of people are like, they know where to break. They know the track so well at that point in time. The
Mhm.
first races has been good the last
Dude,
couple of years.
hashtag side note, I was scrolling through Instagram like after the race and a recommended thing popped up. It was Roman Grosjean taking a selfie at the turn where he crashed at Bahrain.
That
And
was
he was like,
weird.
I visited this corner yesterday. I'm like, yo, my guy. Like, freaking goat, man. Like, come on.
Like, why are
That's
you taking a picture, smile? Like, that's his claim to fame right there. Like,
that's fair.
I felt, but no, I felt that was weird. Like, yay,
Yeah,
4 years.
it's like, yeah, but
I almost
whoa.
died.
Some of the comments were very mixed.
It
Let's
was
say
like,
that.
this is the place where I very almost died. Like,
I'm gonna be traumatized, bro. Like, come on.
I mean, but that's what he's known for being in F1. So,
Hashtag man on fire, baby.
and he did not have a great career. So,
No, he did not.
capture dubs when you can.
This is true.
That's
And it was
basically
also
it.
cool to see Steiner on the grid before the race.
Yeah,
That
I
was heartwarming.
yeah, exactly. So
What a
I
guy.
feel like, yeah, this first week was good. Like I said, I was kind of at work, so it was like,
That's fair. Dude, I barely got to watch any of qualifying if it makes you feel any better. So I was like, all right, I watched a couple highlights and then just look at
qualifying was exactly what we saw in the race, low key.
low
I mean,
key.
apart from like Red Bull, not because Red Bull is going to be like last year. They're not going to really have that much pace on Saturdays. They'll have all the pace on Sundays. So I think really qualifying is somewhat exciting.
Yeah.
Somewhat.
Yeah,
somewhat exciting. Because just to see who does something crazy and who gets knocked out in Q1 or Q2.
Yeah.
But
because we can assume all the higher up teams are just going to do their thing and stay in the remaining position.
Yeah, so unless they have a situation happen, it's not really
nothing else to look for.
Yeah, like Mercedes was doing, just going out last, but everybody on the media was kind of like hyping up. Oh, Mercedes is about to be kicked out, but they purposely waited until the end because they literally had the cars held until like checking in times and stuff. I was watching Lewis Hamilton's like cam, so it's like they were just like checking the times, be like, okay, now it's good to go. So it was a good race, but the weekend,
it was unfulfilling leading up to the race.
Yeah, the race was good though.
Yeah, it was. I'll hand it to everybody. I guess the next question is, what are we going to talk about the next episode? Is it going to be a race recap, or what you thinking?
Oh, it's definitely going to be a race recap.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think anything new is popping up as far as I know, unless from some like major news. I don't see anything.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
So next Saturday at 7.
Is it next Saturday? Are they on Saturdays now?
Oh no, the first 2 races they are. I don't know. Why. They're just on Saturdays. I think it's the scheduling thing.
Racing Saturday at 12. All right, cool, sick.
Yeah. So yeah, we have that. I'm
down.
I think that's just about it. Unless something crazy happens.
Yeah. Well, that being said, you want to wrap us up, close us out?
All right. So thank you guys for watching.
Heck yeah, baby.
The people who were here.
The people who are here. You're the crowd.
The people who are here. Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
I'm Carolina Craig.
I'm Jonathan. We'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Peace.
All right. Peace.